Welcome to Midnight Whispers. Today, you'll hear a story that even adults find chilling, about a small child who somehow knew things no one had ever taught them, things no one believed a child could possibly know. How could a young child speak of memories, names, and events that didn't belong to their life? The answer may send shivers down your spine. If you enjoy mysterious, thought-provoking, and emotionally deep stories, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a single video from Midnight Whispers. Together, we'll uncover the secrets hidden deep within the mind and the soul. The child who knew too much. It began with whispers. At just 4 years old, Lily would say strange things at the dinner table. Things that made forks pause midair and eyes glance nervously around the room. "Uncle Thomas used to fish behind the red barn," she said once, casually, as if recalling a cartoon. Her mother, Karen, blinked. There was no Uncle Thomas in Lily's life, but there had been one, decades ago. Karen's great-uncle, Thomas, had lived in the 1940s. He was quiet and had loved fishing by an old red barn that no longer stood. No one had talked about him in years. "Where did you hear that?" Karen asked. "I didn't hear it. I just know." That was the first of many odd moments. Lily described people and places no child could know. She spoke of a woman with lavender perfume who cried in the garden every Thursday. She knew about a broken locket buried in the backyard, the one Karen's grandmother had lost as a child. And when she wandered through her grandfather's attic, she pointed to a cracked portrait and said, "He used to call me Daisy." That was the nickname of her great-aunt Margaret, who died young. At first, the family laughed it off as coincidence. Kids had wild imaginations. But as the months passed, Lily's memories grew more detailed, more personal. She described family heirlooms no longer in the house, repeated arguments that had taken place generations earlier, and recounted stories that had never been recorded or shared. It unnerved them. Karen's father, Richard, who prided himself on reason, finally agreed to investigate. He pulled out boxes of old documents, yellowed photographs, and weathered letters. With each new item, Lily offered information that lined up too perfectly. She once held a dusty wedding photo and said, "This was the day they fought. He didn't want to marry her after what she said about the baby." There was no record of such an event, but Richard remembered hearing whispers of a miscarriage and family disapproval. How could Lily have known? Concern turned into obsession. Karen began recording her daughter's statements. She interviewed her like a journalist. "Tell me about the lavender woman." Lily replied that her name was Esther, and she had waited for a letter that never came. Richard found an old journal from his aunt's belongings. Esther had written dozens of pages about her lost lover. On the final page, she had written, "I'll wait in the garden every Thursday until the postman brings me the words I need." The family's view of Lily began to shift. She wasn't just an imaginative child. She was a key, a link to the buried past. They began asking her questions. Who else did she remember? What else had happened? Lily spoke of a secret door behind the staircase in the old family house. "There were letters there," she said, "and a photograph of the man with the sad eyes." The family visited the house, now owned by distant relatives, and with their permission, pried open a panel behind the stairs. Inside, wrapped in cloth, were letters dated 1911 to 1914, and a photograph. A man with haunting, hollow eyes. The letters revealed a family scandal, a disowned son, a hidden pregnancy, a fortune lost. It explained the rift that had silently divided the family tree for generations. News spread among relatives. Some embraced it, others called it nonsense. But for Karen, it was undeniable. Her daughter carried pieces of souls long gone. They consulted psychologists, spiritualists, and even past life regression experts. One therapist suggested cryptomnesia, hidden memories absorbed unconsciously. But even he admitted, some of what she knows can't be explained by that. A medium claimed Lily had a thin veil between this life and the last. "She remembers because she's lived it," the woman whispered. Lily, for her part, seemed mostly unfazed. "It's like remembering a dream," she said. "But sometimes the dream is stronger than now." As she grew older, the memories faded. By the time she was 10, the stories came less often, but she still spoke of feeling things in old places, of knowing when someone was hiding pain. She had a gift, or a burden. One night, when Karen tucked her into bed, Lily asked, "Mommy, do you think I'll remember this life next time?" Will I know you then too? Karen felt tears rise. Maybe, but even if you don't, I'll find you, just like before. The past had found its way through time in the mind of a little girl, and in doing so, it healed wounds no one had spoken of for nearly a century. Sometimes the past doesn't stay buried. Sometimes it speaks through the innocent voice of a child. And sometimes listening to that voice can rewrite everything you thought you knew about your own story.